What's going on, guys? Killer6 back with another hotfixes buff comparison before and after. I don't know what we call this thing. Anyhow, it's the thing where we take a look at the things that just got buffed and we see how much they got buffed by. So let's just dive right in and not waste any more time. Up first, we got the ROISEN'S THORN. Now, this gun was already pretty good. As you can see, it did have 21,269 times 2 damage per shot. This would be a 53% buff over the original damage there. So this is one of the only ones where you actually see on the card the damage increase. I want to let you guys know that first and foremost before we get to the other things. This one is one of the only ones that you're going to see an increase on the card. The other one being the Magnificent now shows a change. Let's take a look real quick. Yeah, okay, so the Magnificent actually shows this damage increase. When the hotfix first went live, none of these things were showing. So that's why I didn't post this video right away. But as you can see, this one got a substantial increase as well. The damage increase on this one is actually 200% increase. So it was 2,484 times 2. Now it's 7,453 times 2. And it does have that huge mag size. Also, one thing to note is that unlike the light show, this thing can have a under barrel attachment, or actually it will always have an under barrel attachment. And in the case of this one that I've got right here, it is zip rockets. So you might notice that, for example, the Tizzy is higher base damage, and it can also be times 3. And also the light show is going to be higher base damage, and can be times 4, but they do not have a underbarrel attachment, so you don't have that alternate fire thing. Not that that really matters much, but for something you can get in the base game and can get it on normal mode, that is a nice bump in damage for the Magnificent. All right, up next, let's take a look at the R.Y.N.A.H. Now, this is the new rocket launcher that's been added into the loot pool for loot enemies. So thieving jabbers, loot tanks, chubby enemies, I would assume, shiny grogs if you get lucky and find one of those, amber lamps, all those enemies that are considered loot enemies should be able to drop this. The loot jabber is going to be your best bet for getting this. Now, ignore the fact that this one is anointed. This gun is not currently dropping anointed. This one was given to me by somebody, and that's why it's anointed. So clearly they've modded in the anointment on this thing, but this thing cannot currently, as of the recording of this video, it cannot currently drop anointments. That said, Gearbox is looking into that. I've spoken with devs at Gearbox. They're looking into it. They're trying to figure out why anointments aren't spawning on this thing. They also are aware of the link, which is something that was supposed to have the anointments spawn on it a while back. They're looking at that to see what went wrong on that. And hopefully that will lead to them being able to add anointments to like mission reward items. The hanging Chad is a big one that can't spawn anointed. So it'd be cool if they were able to add anointments to those as well. All right, up next, let's take a look at the Devoted. Now the Devoted, like several other of the items that we're going to go over on this thing, it did not actually get a damage buff on the card, but it is listed as 275% increase of damage on the hotfix data, but the card doesn't reflect that. So I'm not really sure if that is applied on splash damage or how that, I'm not sure how that works. We'll test these things out, and then I'll show you some footage from the other day when I was using this thing before the hotfix, and we'll just see if we can kind of correlate that information, because there's not even any difference between the dot damage either. Now, in terms of the 3 Tediors, there's no change in the card damage for any of those. We're talking about the 10 gallon, the smart gun, the mother 2, but their throw reload has gotten a damage increase. So that is where the damage increase comes for each of those. So as you can see from the mother 2, the damage on it the other day is the same as what it is now, 13,130, and as you see right there, 13,130. Same thing for the 10 gallon, and same thing for the smart gun. None of those show a damage increase on the card, but it's all about that throw reload damage. All right, now the web slinger, this is an interesting one. So the web slinger, again, no damage change on the card. I do feel like this damage number needs to come up. I feel like the base damage for the gun itself just isn't quite high enough. But what did get increased is the underbarrel rocket launcher got an increase of 900% damage. Now, I don't know if the actual damage for the gun itself was supposed to come up, because according to the hotfix data, it said that the web slinger itself was supposed to get a 250% increase, and it's just not showing there. But the underbarrel is getting a 900% increase, and from my testing on the underbarrel, it definitely feels like that thing did get an increase. So just want to throw that out there. We'll take a look at each of these things one by one, test them out here on Athenas. I know Athenas isn't the most, you know, exciting map on the world, but that's where I tested them before the hotfix, so that's where we're going to test them now after the hotfix. So first and foremost, let's jump into Tron's Arena with the ROISEN'S THORN. I'm using my Berserker 6.0 build here in case you want to have any kind of point of comparison as to what kind of damage this thing does. It does a lot. It does a lot of damage. So as you can see, the ROISEN'S THORN is pretty damn nice now. And again, this is another one that you can get with no DLC. This thing drops from Princess Tarantella in Splinterlands, so you can get that from her. It can also world drop as well, so obviously be on the lookout for the double penetrating version of it, because that is the most powerful one, because you get more damage per shot. It does use more ammo per shot as well. So that is the ROISEN'S THORN. As you can see, it is very good now. Up next is the R.Y.N.A.H, and like I said earlier, this thing did get a buff in its actual damage before the release of this content. I was hoping Tron would jump over here like he normally does. There we go, he's jumping over. All right, now we'll shoot him in the back. Actually, we shoot above him. As you can see, the tendrils are what do the main damage, so you want to treat this thing kind of like how you treat the back burner and plague bearer, and kind of shoot it, well, actually more like the plague bearer, and you just shoot it over enemies and you're going to see that damage hit them. You can also just shoot it directly at them. That's going to do a nice chunk of damage too. In my opinion, the back burner is still my preferred launcher, but this is a nice, awesome launcher that you can get early game just by killing loot enemies. So pretty nice get in my opinion. So all right, so I'm just gonna shoot this thing right through here. Apparently I was too close to that. All right, we're shooting it above their heads. That did work, man. That did work. That took out a lot of dudes right there. That took out a lot of dudes right there. All right, so let's try not to blow ourselves up this time. All right, so we just shoot this through the crowd, and as you see, that is really nice, dude. That is really nice. Shoot this. You got to be real careful with this thing, man. This thing, if you are remotely close to the edge of something, it will light you up. Be really careful, dudes. If you're like thinking you're behind cover or something, guess what? You're not. Damn, this thing is destroying. This is definitely not a boss weapon, but holy crap, mobs just get destroyed by this thing, man. All right, there's some more dudes over there. This thing just owns, man. It just absolutely owns. Now, again, the main problem with this thing right now is that it cannot spawn anointed. That's killing that guy through the floor. Well, it didn't kill him, but it did some damage to him through the floor over there. This thing, it seems like it needs multiple enemies to be attached in order to do its best damage. So keep that in mind. It seems like it really wants to get a bunch of enemies at once. So there's a single enemy. That was work. That holy crap, this thing is a mobbing destroyer, man. So, and again, this is one that you can get without having mayhem. The back burner and the plague bearer, you need mayhem levels for those. So if you're looking for a rocket launcher that will just absolutely wreck face and you don't want to do mayhem, the R.Y.N.A.H, the frickin' R.Y.N.A.H, dude. It's pretty damn good. All right, up next we have the web slinger, and like I said earlier, the underbarrel attachment is what got the big buff that I could tell, and it didn't seem like the actual gun itself got a huge buff, but we'll test it out here and see. Let's have Tron jump over. We're gonna shoot him with the underbarrel attachment. You get one launcher shot, so let's pop this thing off, and it didn't do much there. It works really well versus regular enemies, just so you know, and this is the regular assault rifle damage of this gun. And again, we're on the Berserker build, so we can basically shoot forever here. I don't know, for something you have to go through the Guardian takedown to get, I really feel like this thing should be just an absolute beast of a gun. Now, granted, I cannot see what the hell I'm shooting at right now. There's just so much stuff happening on screen. Oh, that guy just Mr. President me. I love that. You gotta love that. You have to love it. There you go. So that's the web slinger. And again, the underbarrel launcher is what got the 900% damage bonus. And you can hold this thing and then just release it when you're ready to shoot it. And that shoots out kind of like almost like an ion cannon type blast. So keep that in mind. Actually, let's tell you what, let's go out here and we'll use it against a regular mob. And we'll try and blast him right in the face. As you can see, it's pretty decent damage for that thing, for an under barrel thing, and then the web slinger itself versus these guys. Again, I'm not super impressed. This thing definitely needs more damage in my opinion for something you have to go through the Guardian takedown to get. Otherwise, I mean, I don't feel like there's any point in doing the Guardian takedown if the weapons from it are terrible, you know what I mean? So hopefully that's something that'll get some love at some point, because right now, yeah. You know, yeah. All right, up next, the Devoted. Let's try it out. All right, so the first thing you might notice about the Devoted is that huge mag size. So unlike so many other Maliwan weapons, this thing has a default gigantic mag size of 81. And of course, I'm rocking some things that boost my mag size as well. But yeah, so this thing does a lot of bullets. So let's jump in and try it on Trant and see. And like I said, nothing changed on the card, but allegedly this thing got a 275% damage increase, according to the notes that I've got here. I have not tested this yet, so let's see if we can tell any difference. That was a terrible start to my attack. That's pretty good damage though. That is pretty good damage. All right, let's switch to fire. Yeah, that's not horrible. That's not horrible at all. Let's take it out here and try it on some mobs though. Yeah, that's pretty nice, man. That's really this is better than the web slinger. I just want to point that out. This is doing better damage than the web slinger, and the web slinger is a Guardian takedown exclusive from the final boss of the Guardian takedown. That kind of sums up my problem with the web slinger and the globetrotter and the smog. When you get things like the Devoted, which can world drop in the base game, and they do more damage than the web slinger, that's kind of the problem. All right, let's move on to the Magnificent. All right, now we are on the Magnificent. As you can see, it has pistol mode, and then the alternate fire mode on this one that I've got is zip rockets. And here's what the zip rockets do, in case you're wondering. This is corrosive. Now, is this, I think this gun is always corrosive. Yeah, the Magnificent is always fire or corrosive. So we're rocking a corrosive one here. So let's dive in on Trant and see how this thing performs on him. Then we'll try it against some mobs too, just to give us a little bit of a baseline comparison. All right, let's see if we can get him to jump over here at our Iron Bear. That way we can shoot him in his crit spot. It's always nicer when he cooperates with that. He's not going to cooperate. All right, let's shoot him with the regular bullets here. Yeah, you can tell it's definitely, you know, it's better than it was. Like I said, it got a pretty substantial buff, but it's hard to hit that crit spot on him. All right, let's start with the zip rockets versus the badass, see how those feel. And again, this is corrosive versus, you know, shock bar and health bar. That's pretty nice. Zip rockets are pretty nice. All right, that's a badass. And again, that's corrosive versus flesh on that. So that's actually pretty good. This thing is actually pretty good. The Magnificent, maybe no longer laughing stock of the Borderlands community. This thing might actually be worth getting now. All right, up next is the Mother 2. Now, again, like I said before, this thing did not get any kind of increase on its card. It's all about that throw reload damage that this thing gets. So let's see how it does. And like I said before, I've actually got some footage of pre-buff, so we can test that and see how it feels. This is actually doing really good gun damage now, which is interesting. All right, let's try the throw reload and see how this thing feels. So what this thing does is it sends out these little drones, and they basically follow enemies around and try and do damage to them. It doesn't do a whole lot in that regard. And you can't throw reload hit them with the thing to do damage. It just doesn't work. So let's see if we can do anything. And again, this is shock versus flesh, so keep that in mind. But yeah, it's not horrible for like single targets and non-boss situations, but versus bosses, yeah, pretty bad. Let's see if this does anything versus these dudes out here. Tell you what, we're going to throw some of these guys out here, get a head start on this. Get a few of them going here. As you can see, it'll rip shields. Actually, that's doing pretty good. I'm not doing anything else at all to that guy. That nearly killed him just with the 3 reloads right there. That wasn't horrible, actually. It just doesn't seem to do a whole lot versus bosses. Plus, you know, you have to match your elements better. If I'm just using shock here, it's not the most effective, but that's actually pretty good, man. That wasn't too bad, honestly. So yeah, I would say that this thing is probably more ideal for general mobbing than bosses, but yeah, and this thing does come in fire, shock, corrosive, cryo, and radiation, so keep that in mind. Also, the damage increase this thing allegedly got was 200%, and like I said, it doesn't show on the card. All right, up next, the Smart Gun XXL. All right, so the Smart Gun XXL. I'll throw out a couple of these bad boys, see what they do. Well, see if it'll do anything to this guy if I hit him directly. Yeah, 6 million on that. That was, I think that was firing the skag den damage. Let's see. Let's hit him again. Yeah, it was 6 million firing the skag den, then 1 million with the damage from the actual throw reload. But still, pretty good, pretty good. All right, so let's try on Trant here and see how this feels. Now, again, this thing is always corrosive. You cannot get this in other elements, so keep that in mind. All right, Tron is cooperating for once. All right, let's try just the regular damage on this thing. The regular bullet damage is not horrible. Get a couple throw reloads in here. Let's actually throw a few of them on the ground. Let them do their thing here. So as you can see, they're little spider brains. They'll pop out and they'll do their thing. But yeah, the main gimmick of this thing is obviously throwing out the brains that will run around on the ground and help contribute to the fight. Obviously great versus enemies that are weak to corrosion. So this would probably be more suited for like the handsome jackbot, for example, or, you know, loaders in the DLC, etc., things like that. I'm just gonna let these guys do their thing. And that's them doing corrosive damage versus shock bar. It's not very good. And if I throw a reload and hit him directly, most of that damage is firing the skag den, so keep that in mind. The actual gun damage for this thing is, again, corrosive on flesh, not great, but it is improved from where it was. The damage increase on this gun is 250%. Now, I don't know if that's 250% when you hit them directly with the throw reload. I don't know if that's supposed to be 250% on the brains actually shooting things. I don't know what the 250% is. It's very vague. But I would say that this thing is definitely much improved. It'll be really fun in normal mode. If you kill Gigamine and this thing drops, you'll get really, really good use out of this for quite a while. But in Mayhem mode, I'm going to say it's probably not worth using. Probably. All right, up next, we're going to go to the 10 gallon. Let's see how this bad boy does. All right, the 10 gallon. Now, this thing was actually not horrible before the buff, but it's listed as a 100% damage increase in the hotfix data. So the actual gun damage itself is pretty nice, as you can see right there. But I'm thinking probably, since it's not showing on the card, the gun damage increase, I'm thinking that the damage increase is on these drones that follow you around. So let's throw a bunch of these guys out and see if they can help me kill Tron here. Actually, let's pop Iron Bear, because that's what we've been doing, and try to get him to jump over here. And then we can also shoot him in the back a bit too after he jumps. He's not going to jump. He's too busy looking at my drones. But as you can see, the actual gun damage of this thing feels really good now. That was doing a lot of work there. Well, let's throw some more drones out, and we'll just let the drones do the rest of the work from here and see what they can do. Yeah, as you can see, the drones are doing pretty substantial work out here, all things considered. That was me that time. I did shoot that guy because he was just in my face and I didn't like it. But yeah, these guys, now the problem with the drones is you can't really get them to say, all right, let's aim at his crit spot, which is on his back and not his head. So they're probably generally shooting him in the wrong spot. So not ideal there, but yeah. But yeah, between them and the actual damage that you can do with the gun itself, I mean, it seems like this thing is much improved, and it was already decent, at least with a TD or Mo's. So yeah, definitely worth giving this thing a shot. Definitely will be really awesome in normal mode. I don't think that I would use this too much in true vulnerable mode, but I don't know. Let's take it out here and kill some general mobs too and see how that feels out there. All right, so we're gonna throw it out here and we're just gonna let it do its thing, man. I'm not going to do anything at all other than throw these guys out. See how this performs versus some mobs. So that guy's a badass. It's doing okay. I mean, it's not supposed to, you know, wreck badasses for you. You know what I mean? I'm just throwing a grenade to try and keep alive. I waited too long to do that. But yeah, the freaking things did all the work there for me. So not bad. And then as you see, the actual gun damage itself is much improved. Wow, I got an annexed Lyuda with a 24 mag. Oh my god. Too bad the anointment sucks, but damn, I'm going to take that anyhow. But yeah, the 10 gallon feels pretty good, man. Let's try the ROISEN'S THORN versus some mobs. Now, one more thing that I want to point out about the ROISEN'S THORN is that it has the absolute best skin of any gun in the game, in my opinion. Just look at that thing, man. Those are the roses that were from the art from Borderlands 3 from before it came out, where you'd see the posters and stuff. And it just looks awesome. I just love the look of this gun. And this thing in the hands of Moe's, since this is a splash damage Moe's, bottomless mags splash damage Moe's at that, this thing is just a lot of fun in the hands of this Moe's build. You don't even have to be accurate, man. I don't even aim down sights most of the time when I'm shooting this thing. I just shoot toward mid body of enemies for the most part. If I was shooting at their heads, you can miss some of those orbs and stuff. You can even shoot at their feet. Honestly, shooting at their feet is pretty powerful because you're gonna just destroy dudes. But yeah, this is fun, dude. These buffs are nice, man. Even though some of the things aren't showing up on the cards, it feels like everything feels pretty good. So I don't know, man. Everything feels pretty nice. I haven't tried them in the hands of Amara, who is the weakest for gun damage, so keep that in mind. If you want to do that test yourself, go for it. Most of these things I would probably be using on Moe's, Zane, and Flak anyhow. Exception being the R.Y.N.A.H. I would use that on all characters. The ROISEN'S THORN I'd probably use on all characters. It's a lot of fun. But Tediors, I generally only use those on Moe's. The Magnificent is best in the hands of Zane. The Devoted may be really good for Amara, especially if you're doing a Ties the Bind build. And the Web Slinger. Now the Web Slinger, again, I feel like that thing just needs more love. When it's being out damaged by the Devoted, you know, it kind of says it all. So that's my look at the hotfix buffs and how I feel about them. For the most part, it's pretty good set of buffs here, man. Like I said, the Web Slinger needs more. The Globetrotter, another raid exclusive from the Guardian Takedown, that still needs more love. I would say that the Smog still needs a little bit of love too. Honestly, everything in the Asclepius, or however you say that shield name, that thing needs love. The Lightspeed needs a little bit of love. Everything in the Guardian Takedown should be the absolute cream of the crop in terms of damage, because that is the hardest content in the game. And because it's so hard, and because it's got so many jumps and annoying things that people hate, you better make it so that people will feel rewarded at the end of it. And right now, I do not feel rewarded, so I just don't do the content. So, you know what I mean? That's all there is to it. I really want to like the Guardian Takedown. I just can't because the loot's just terrible. So that's my thought on it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Which item is your favorite that got the buff? And why is it the ROISEN'S THORN? Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe, tap the bell icon for more, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Y'all have a great day. Oh! I'm done. I retire. It's been fun playing Borderlands 3, but apparently I'm done here. Take care.